But you said imagining. I want people to stop doing that because you were imagining and you were manifesting.
Yeah.
But there has to be grind behind that manifestation. And that's what people are sitting back and like, I have so many people that ask me to mentor them and they have this, I want to do this, I want to do that. But I say nothing changes if nothing changes, right?
Yes, I would say I started with imagining, but I was converting that into action.
Of course.
So that's the pain method is you start with this passion, you can imagine, you start, it feels good.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't feel good to actually put action. But when you start converting that action, you start bringing it to life and the discipline, the education, whatever it is that you need, it starts to become real with that action. Welcome back, hopefully, to the Paint Method podcast. I am David Garibaldi, and today you got to strap in for this one. I haven't had a conversation like this in a while because I talked to me, one of the most inspiring people in my life. Not only is she a world champion in the fitness world, she's a world champion mother. She's a leader. I think we gave her the title Transformer. And she also talks to us about being the person your dog thinks you are. Is that right? Was that right?
Yeah, be the person you think your dog thinks you are.
I think we definitely had a good laugh. Definitely had a little bit of a cry together too. So strap in for this and please meet Chadi Dunmore, and happy to say the love of my life. Let's go. We are all on our paint journey, but where are we now? And where do we go next? This is how passion, action, intent, new, teach. This is the Paint Method. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. So we did your intro, but for people that you may or may not know, I'm lucky to call you my girlfriend, love of my life, many other things. But you have such a colorful life. And I think that now on social media, people only see this sliver of like the whole color wheel of your life.
Yeah, it's funny because people think that they know everything just because they think you post everything on social media, but you and I both know we post what we want to post.
Yeah. But even then, I mean, you're still, even though you're choosing what you share, you still share a lot.
Oh, I'm very transparent.
Yeah.
A lot. I'm transparent enough to like respect the people I love.
So when we joke around about this all the time, but you'll like you're not here. You'll put like this fire post about like moving on and like know when to walk away. And I'm like, wait, if someone reads this, they'll think it's about me. So I go on there and I'm just commenting, love you, babe. Great post. I'll see you at dinner.
A lot of it's journal posts that I just am sharing, or I talk to a lot of friends or people on social media who reach out to me about relationships, and I give them really good advice because I know I wish I listened to my own advice back then. It took me to fall on my face a lot, but I am thinking someone else needs to hear this, and so I'll make it a post.
Yeah. So you share a lot, these are, introspective thoughts that you've written down or typed. You're sharing them now. And we'll get more into your past, like what led up to this, but was there a certain point where you decided, I'm going to start sharing these thoughts that I have or these introspective thoughts that I write down? Was there a moment, or did that just kind of start happening?
Definitely just started kind of happening. I definitely been blessed to have been given a great platform in the social media world, starting out as a fitness bikini champion. And then it transpired to me revealing so much about my personal life and people seeing that. And that kind of led me to just realizing that my platform's so much more than just a bikini title.
Mine too. I can relate.
And I realized that I have more power in being transparent and being a voice to mental health and just people who go through life. And the gym is just kind of my therapy and has been my therapy, along with, like, you know, obviously a therapist. But um, yeah, it's so much deeper than just what people see.
Yeah. So even though you introduce yourself to the world through, this fitness world, which we'll get into,
Mm-hmm.
and even though on social media, it basically exploded because of your beauty and transparency. The connection that you've made with people are like beyond the beauty. It's honestly inspiring to watch and see. But you're right. There was this whole life before,
Mm-hmm.
and so I always joke around about this, but I say that there's two Chotties.
Yes.
There's the one that was introduced to people on social media, the go getting fitness, inspiring leader,
Mm-hmm.
transformer.
Yeah.
But the girl is a New Yorican
Yes.
to the core.
Yes.
And I think that's actually what made me fall more in love with you was,
Mm-hmm.
who you really are. So you were born in New York. What was
Mm-hmm.
that like growing up in New York City? Like, how much did that lend to just who you are?
Oh, I definitely know now I do not like the cold.
You're like, the first thing that I learned from living in New York, do not want to live here in the winter.
I know. I love New York. It definitely reminds me of my culture. Most importantly, I think it reminds me more of my culture more than Miami because I was raised in Miami. But New York is just, it's my stomping grounds. It's just basically I feel like I am who I am because of, like, the rawness of that New York is all about. People are very upfront and people don't sugarcoat things, and I appreciate people like that, even though it may come off rude. I just rather have someone be no smokes and mirrors than just,
Yeah, I don't think I really appreciated that about people in my life
yeah.
until you were just like black and white about
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
Always. And so, you don't know if you enjoy something until you experience
Yeah.
it. And I experienced that and I was like a little uncomfortable. I'm like, but she's telling me the truth and
Yes.
I need to hear this right
Yeah.
now. That's
Yeah.
how it felt. Was that just obviously it is a New York thing to just keep it 100.
Mm-hmm.
Was your family that way as well? Just
Always.
tell us about your family in general, because you have a lot of
Yeah,
family.
I have a big family. So obviously I was born in Brooklyn, and I moved to Miami, Florida in 86 when the Mets won the World Series. And I have a strong family that just their value is just very upfront, no sugarcoating, everything from hair to toe.
No matter what color your hair is that
Yes.
month.
Yeah. And then also too, but they're the most supportive family that I know I say that I've ever have had, but it's only because, sometimes people have friends that are super supportive. I'm really blessed that my family's so supportive. But I know people grow up differently, and I'm not who I am if it wasn't for my family, because I've been able to rebuild my life so many different times because I'm like, oh, starting all over again. Here I go with my family.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
So do you think that's where you started learning life lessons? And do you
yes.
remember like it started in New York before you came to Miami?
That's a great question. I would say I remember a lot of New York, but I was really young. I moved to Florida when I was like in third or fourth grade. And I remember my family culture mostly in Miami. We would go back to New York a lot, but mostly Miami. I never thought I got out of New York. That's the thing.
Really? Are you still in New York right now mentally?
No, it's just like a New York with palm trees, you know?
Okay. Yeah. And right
But
now we're in like Sacramento. Is it going to
yeah,
be
there's
New
no
York
palm.
with no palm
Yeah, I know.
trees?
Um, yeah, I guess I didn't see the difference. Obviously, the weather was a huge difference, but the people, I guess East Coast people, it was a huge difference than West Coast.
It's a very similar energy.
Yes.
I mean, you're right. It is a East Coast thing. Something about East Coast people are just more like gritty, honest, like
Yes.
straightforward.
Yes.
I love that. I think that if you're from the West Coast
Yes.
and that's new to you, I could see why that could be a little uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But you tell us what we need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Miami.
I love Miami too.
Yeah.
So in Miami though, you started getting into modeling at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
How was that presented to you, or how did you seek that out?
I grew up with a twin brother. So I was tired of being like the tomboy.
Yeah.
And my mom had shared that she had done modeling like at theaters with like, Christy Brinkley and just like famous models at that time. And I remember just looking at magazines and wanting to look like, look look like that,
Yeah.
because I just was a tomboy. I was climbing trees and putting lizards on my ears.
Well, if your brother, if you didn't choose to be a tomboy, your brother would have forced you to do that.
Yeah,
'Cause he's
totally.
just rough.
Totally, yeah, for sure. I grew up thinking that I was just like one of the boys, and then my mom shared some shared some modeling pictures, and I was like, I want to do that. And then at 13 years old, there was like Macy's was having like a modeling show, back to school modeling show in the mall,
Yeah.
and I went to it, and they ended up picking me. But I did not end up doing the show because I got scouted by the modeling agency at the mall, and I ended up just
Like
signing
going
with.
right into like professional
Yeah,
modeling
I ended
right
up
away.
just doing a test shoot with the modeling agency who scouted me, trying out for that Macy's fashion show, and did a test shoot, and then I got signed with an agency in Florida. And from there, I just started booking jobs with like European companies. And that was like a huge shift for me. I feel like that was like my first shift of feeling like whenever you want to put your mind to something, it can happen. And at that time, I kind of just channeled my inner model.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I looked, or I didn't think I was the normal pretty. And I don't think I am now. I think that what stands out and what got me the jobs was because I was so different looking, and because my parents look mixed, that was the thing that they were looking for. And that's why I was always booking jobs with like European agencies.
But I think, yeah, like in high fashion, which a lot of stuff you were doing at the
Yeah.
time, a lot of those models are not conventional, quote
No.
unquote,
Yeah.
pretty. And I
Right.
hate even categorizing beauty because there's so many forms of it.
Mm-hmm.
And but I have seen those photos of you when you're younger, and you are like it was a very exotic
Mhm.
beauty. It was very
Mhm.
different. You still are.
Thank you. I had
Beautiful.
really crazy curly hair.
Yeah.
I
you
still do.
still have
I do. I
crazy
just know how
curly
to
hair.
style it now. And I had like my freckles stood out. I was tan. So people didn't know what nationality I was. And usually when they do a lot of the bookings, they need like the blonde hair, the beautiful black girl, then they need like someone in between, and I was always the in between girl. So I was booking a lot of jobs at the time. No one knew I was doing modeling until I got into high school. And I was featured in a magazine where I was one of the 7 Miami models on the rise, which was in Fashion Spectrum, which is a huge magazine in Miami Beach. And it got brought to school by a teacher, and he showed everyone in class.
That's kind of weird. Was that cool or weird?
It was cool because I was featured.
Yeah, yes.
And he was like showing off for me, but then it was weird because everyone was responding in a negative way. Like they were just like, some people were like, "Whoa, you're a model?" I guess I didn't look like school. And then they would just be thinking like I was conceited or something, and it kind of like brought negative attention to me where I was kind of embarrassed because you don't want to show off. You kind of want to blend in high school.
Yeah, I mean that's before because you're limited on social knowledge at that time.
Yes.
Until you realize that as we get older, standing out or just being unique and happy with yourself is really all that matters, rather than whether you blend in or not.
Yeah.
So at what point did modeling start feeling like work? Because it was obviously a passion. It sounds glamorous.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's these moments where did it feel like work?
Yeah. It started at 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was booking those magazines, I had to show up. They would do my hair and makeup so crazy, which is not conventional.
Yeah.
And I was not feeling comfortable in the pictures. I didn't like them. Sometimes the outfits were a little bit more revealing than I would wear. Um, didn't match. Again, that's just editorial stuff. And I knew that it was a job and I was getting paid for it. And I knew that like early on that you just got to show up. If this is the job, this is what you want. You just have to do all type of modeling.
Yeah.
It's not just one particular glamorous, teen Vogue or anything like that.
So you are a WBFF champion on multiple levels, and I'll share some of the titles. First place overall, Arnold bikini tall.
Yes.
I saw
The
I
first
ever. Huge. What are some other titles that you hold? And the reason why I wanted you to share these, because this was not there was a point where like this was not a natural path.
No.
But what are some of the titles that you earned at this elite level of bodybuilding?
I was the 2010 bikini tall and overall champion. And from there, I got my pro card to be an IVB pro bikini competitor. From there, I ended up resigning my title there and I switched over to WBFF where they honored my pro card.
And WBFF is
the World's Bodybuilding Fitness Federation.
Okay.
Yes. Paul Dillette and his wife Allison gave me a call, and they at the time were like, we would love for you to switch over to our federation and honor your pro card and compete as a pro.
Were you like, yes?
I was like,
ready.
I was like, yes, but it was it brought a lot of negative attention to me because I was already an NPC IFBB champion it was kind of like East Coast, West Coast. Like you cannot go switch over. They were like, if you switch over, you're never welcome back.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, okay. They were like, we won't let you model ever again. They kind of threatened me.
Yeah,
for sure. No, they did. Well, I mean, their first champion leaving their federation to go to another one as a competitor.
Yeah.
I just at the time was like, I don't really care. I just want to like compete. And I wasn't doing it for like attention or social media stuff. At that time, social media, Instagram was brand new. That's where my social media following came from.
Yeah.
Switched over and I ended up winning my world's title with the WBFF. And then I competed again, won a second world's title. Competed for the third time, decided to go the fitness route, which was not the best route because I don't have a fitness physique. I don't carry enough muscle and I'm too tall, I feel like. I
think your titles say different,
yeah.
But okay.
I ended up placing 5th for WBFF fitness, which I feel like was a gift, but placed 5th and then I stopped competing.
Yeah.
I just I was going through so much life and personal stuff that mentally I could not just go through those grueling workouts. And
so we skipped over a huge part of this whole, like the titles, amazing. The work that it takes to build a physique like that and the discipline, amazing, inspiring. But what led you to that? There was a huge transformation. And some people that follow you kind of know the story. But what inspired your journey to get into professional bodybuilding? What was happening before that? You don't have to go too personal, but you had a major transformation.
I did. I used to weigh over 206 pounds.
That's wild.
And then I was still cute.
Sure
I was still cute.
I know. I see those pictures. I'm like, what's up? I'm good.
I had just had my daughter, and I gained a lot of weight. I had gained weight previously in college, lost it, got married, got pregnant at a high risk pregnancy, and I gained over 80 pounds. And you have this baby, you hear these stories like, oh, you're going to be skinny again. I was not skinny again. I was like, my foot couldn't even go into the shoe. I had to put my foot into flip-flops on the way home from the hospital because they were so swollen. It was like filling up a plastic glove. And just, that's how my foot and my hands look.
I'm like, you're describing my every morning and me putting on shoes.
No.
I still carry my baby weight.
No, not at all. You look great, babe.
Thank you, babe. But enough about me. So you were in this time where you were probably, feeling, down, or were you feeling uninspired?
Yeah.
what clicks to make you go from, like, what is a day one
Yeah.
looking at that time of, this is my life,
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is, it's, busy, is difficult, I feel like I'm overweight, or I feel like I want to make a change.
Yeah.
And then what clicks to create day one?
You have to have like a why, and you have to like, sometimes people have to go hit rock bottom. And I was one of those people who had to hit rock bottom. I mean, I was in a marriage. It definitely was something that unfolded to lead me into a divorce. But at the time when I had my aha moment to lose the weight, it was definitely I looking at myself in the mirror, not being attracted to myself and feeling insecure and just thinking like, I don't want my daughter to be embarrassed when I take her to school, or I can't even fit into my clothes, or I can't go into the gym and even like wear my clothes where I want to like hit a day one. Um, I was just embarrassed the way I looked because I never had like felt, I never went through a really overweight. I gained weight in college drinking, but not like that.
But I think that that moment is probably more relatable to so many people, because there
Yeah.
are people who are just genetically blessed.
Yeah.
They're maybe brought up, they were always an athlete, so they're used to that feeling of putting their body through stress.
Mm-hmm.
But for people like myself who are not, super athletic throughout their whole life, we have to find a moment to make us think, I need to make change. I got to make something happen today.
Yeah.
Things, I can't keep doing things the same.
Mm-hmm.
And you started that. And so I guess now you have this day one, you go, you show up. When do you decide I'm going to do this professionally at an elite level?
Oh my gosh. I mean, here, to be really honest, it was also like when you're having a child, it changes everything for you. Like you just, look at life so much different. And I said previously, like, it had to do with my daughter, just the way she looked at me. But also, too, I was in a marriage and I just didn't, my husband at the time was not like physical with me at all. Like throughout the whole pregnancy, after, like, and that kind of fucked me up mentally. And then also, too, um just stretch marks, like it was like a mind f, like I remember looking at myself
You can
like,
cuss. It's okay.
yeah.
You can say it. It's mind fuck.
It just like it did fuck me up.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I'm on a new schedule with like I was barely sleeping. My health was kind of off at that time. They told me my thyroid was messed up. Was diagnosed with lupus. I had like, it was just a compilation of just shit that
Yeah.
I was just like, okay. And I think the gym was like the only thing, well, working out was the only thing I was in control of. And I talk about that a lot because we don't have any control of any life stuff that's going to happen to us. We're basically in a car and we're just driving. So we have no idea if there's tornadoes coming, a cat's going to drive across. Like, it's just, that's what your life is like.
Yeah.
And at that time, I guess I had so many storms happening that I just knew that I just had to stay focused and continue to drive forward and put diesel in my car.
Yeah.
And that was the gym. That was the one thing that made me feel strong, that made me feel capable, that made me feel sexy, that made me feel like I was getting words of affirmation every single time. Every day would be, wow, you're losing weight. Wow, like, oh my gosh. And it was all of that. It was just like, okay, I can't control anything else, but I can control my health and not take medications for all these health issues. I can control the way I look, and then maybe the way I look can control my marriage.
Yeah. So the paint method
Mm-hmm.
is about this creative journey.
Mm-hmm.
And you are at the part that you're talking about right now is the part, it's like after passion, you've experienced things that you're into, and you start getting to this passion for bodybuilding or just fitness in general.
Yeah.
But part of action is also educating yourself.
Yeah.
There is one thing to do to take action, but also you had to start teaching yourself about nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
about different ways to build your physique. Did that come natural, or was the education part sort of just like, look, this is just what comes with the territory?
At the time when I had first started my fitness journey, I was not educating myself. The only thing I was educating myself was the bodybuilding competitions. And it wasn't, I left the nutrition for the cookie cutter diets that I was giving. I was just like, I'm just going to do this. Maybe I'll modify it so I'm not dying, right? I totally cheated on all the
I
diets
can't
that I gave.
imagine you seeing you eat then, because like you throw it down now. Like
Yeah.
you can.
I mean, even
I
last
think.
night I was eating chips before we went to bed.
Well, we ordered food last night, and you added steak and salmon. Not to put you on blast, we
Yeah.
ordered steak and salmon
And a
together
salad.
on top of the salad, and she's like looking through it. She's like, "Where's the salmon?" Like I ordered salmon, and there's a huge salad sitting there. She's like, "I'm still hungry," and I'm
I
like,
am.
There's a salad." He's like, "I
I
don't want
know.
that."
Yeah. I'm like,
I can't
I looked
imagine.
at my daughter's fries. I'm like, you gonna eat that?
She was walking away. You're like, "Come back, come back. I'll take those." Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I learned nutrition after my competition days. Isn't that crazy? And that's why I don't compete anymore, because competing is just not the healthiest way. It's not something you can keep up as a lifestyle and not affect your like vital organs and just your mindset. It's again, there's very 0.001 people that can do it and not be effed up. But I feel like it's like acting, kind of like these
Yeah.
methods that you have to use into get into doing certain roles. Training for a competition is literally channeling a certain mindset, and I did it for 5 years, like nonstop. I just like tried to absorb the champions at the time that were competing, and bikini was really brand new, so I was really lucky to do as well as I did. But I just was basically watching the girls who would win, and mind you, I lost a lot of shows. He's talking about all the shows that I won. I lost so many shows, and I remember
How many shows, like, just generally
I mean, I
did
didn't
you enter and like and not win then?
yeah, I mean, I probably did like probably 4 to 5 before, and I say a lot, but you guys know who
But a lot.
competes.
But how long does it take to get ready for one? Yeah,
Exactly. So it takes about like 6 to 8 months
that's
to
a
prep
long
for a show.
time.
So yeah, it takes, at the time I was doing shows back to back, but I mean, there's shows that I competed. I didn't even spray tan. I'm thinking, oh, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm tan already.
Yeah,
And not learning how to pose, all that stuff is so important. But I really dove into it after I think I placed second in Contra Costa, which was a Bay Area show, and that was like all it took for me to like.
that was a little
That
taste
was like,
of
yes,
winning.
that was like the sprinkles that I was like, okay, I really like this. I'm on stage and I can, and I started just kind of watching the girls who would win and what they were doing, and I was like, okay, this is like a pageant, but you just have to learn how to walk on stage. It's not just working out and looking the part,
Yeah,
because I was looking the part, but I didn't know how to walk. I didn't know how to do the other stuff. And so that's when my modeling background kind of came in. And I feel like that's what made me do so well, because I feel like it's so competitive, but also too, it's very like, it's who they decide to win that night. And I feel like whenever you place, it's basically winning. Being a pro is basically, you already won. It's just, you never know who they're going to pick. And nowadays it's very political and so on. So, um, yeah, I feel like it was my night that night, all those nights that I did win.
yeah. So, what's a mindset that people can take when they're pursuing something over a long period of time?
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it's fitness or whether they're pursuing a creative career, or or if they join your Monate team, whatever it is,
Right.
that there's months
Mm-hmm.
before you really see the end result.
Yeah.
What's a mindset that people need to carry as they're on this journey,
Yeah.
knowing that every day matters, every decision matters, but ultimately it's what's going to happen months or even years from now? What is that mindset?
Um, my building blocks mindset. It's because it's like building a house. You're not going to see it overnight. It's not going to be one block. It's not going to be 2 blocks. It takes time to like build that. And it starts off as an apartment to a house to a mansion to a village, and you just can't stop. You can't, and you get what you put into it. And for me, like, you kind of have to be obsessive about certain things. If you want something, you have to be all in. You can't just think like, oh, I'm gonna try to do a show and then kind of sort of eat a diet. You kind of sort of get results.
Yeah,
And
I got a kind of sort of fitness body. I can relate.
Oh my God, I need water.
No, I can relate. But I apply that mindset in other areas of my life. But
He, you know, because David, everybody thinks you just throw paint on a canvas and
yeah,
that's it. And
don't
you,
tell him that's all I
I
do,
know, no,
guys.
he
That's all I
doesn't.
do.
He does everything from doing everything in his studio to learning how to use the cameras to just this podcast. Like you, if you want to accomplish something, you have to learn on, you have to do it yourself. You cannot like you can find resources, you can find people to help you, but you can't point the finger at other people for you not learning. And we all have different ways we learn things. You have to find out your strengths and you have to find what your weaknesses. And when your weaknesses come in, whether if it's being accountable, have someone to like, signing up for a gym like with a friend or a class, or do a project with someone together where you are going to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just you have to like turn that switch on or off. There's no in between. There's no like steps. It's either you're in or you're not.
Tell him that's right. You tell him it's so true. Here's the thing. I didn't realize how obsessed I am with learning.
Every night, guys.
Yeah, she knows. Backtrack. When I look back to high school, which I didn't graduate, if they gave me my classes in the form of YouTube videos, I swear I would have had straight A's.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but the way that you can seek out how you want to learn now is so much more accessible and attainable to do anything.
Yeah.
And so, you have to really become obsessed with wanting to gain knowledge in anything, whatever it is, whatever's going to help you. And even if you try to do it by yourself up to a certain point, at some point you'll learn too, I need to delegate this part because I understand what needs to get done, but I know someone who's an expert in that, and they're going to do a much better job of us meeting this goal together.
I always feel like when people put too much on their plate, they're not going to succeed in that particular thing they want to do, right? And so think about me, like I have my hands in so many different pots, but it's obviously because I'm a mom. I'm also like trying to shift different positions and make things more of a priority than others. And I know that if I take on more doing something I don't want to do, that thing I want to do will never happen. And I think that's something that people need to hear, is that make your list of what you really, really want to do. It's 1, 2, 3. That's it, right? And then that number one thing should always be number one. Even if number 3 pays more, even if number 3 can give you, I don't know. It just, that number one thing will eventually start shifting, and then you start over again. And you're literally realizing like, oh, I don't know why I'm starting over again. Or that dream, maybe it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen because you never made it a priority. And when we make things a priority, like our children, right? That's how we do it. So when people say, how did you guys do it as parents? And we're like, we don't have a choice.
Yeah. I hope you guys are writing this down. This is like a mindset masterclass. And I think that you really have this awareness how powerful mindset is in achieving not only big goals like in the fitness world, what you're doing now, your mindset as a mother, but also your day-to-day activities. I see how active you are talking to your team and the people that you manage. And I still think like she still makes me feel like I'm the only person in the room at the time. You're truly applying this abundance mindset and this focused mindset daily. And it's really, really inspiring.
It's really hard to do. Thank you. It's so hard to do. It's literally looking back at my paper. Imagine being in a car, you guys, and looking at your map every single time that you have, and you have a destination to go to. But you have all these distractions that you keep driving by. And then Disneyland could be like, your friends going out to drink and inviting you to parties, right? Then it's like the second stop where it's like, a new person, a new love life in your life that you're just like, oh, well, they don't want me to focus on this business because it takes away time from them, or it's family at another one. on a different on the left. It's constant distractions on this journey to get to that number one thing that you have on your list. And if you don't keep the number one thing, it won't be the number one thing. It's so simple. It's literally, you kind of have to make it a priority. And you can't. That's why I always tell people, if you don't write it down and put it next to your toothbrush every day, because you have to look at it every day. Can't be on your phone, because I put notes on my phone all the time. I forget stuff.
No, I need to tap back into that, because one thing that I did early on, when I first started painting, I mean, I was in this little one-bedroom apartment. What's that?
Vision boards or letters?
Just a letter to myself.
Yeah.
And I wrote this letter to myself, and I still have it here in the studio. And I put it next to my door, and I would read it every single time I left.
Yeah.
So imagine this. I was dead broke, no momentum. My name was just David Garibaldi. Didn't mean anything to anyone. But I read that, and I walked out that door, and I thought about that all day long. I thought about it. I would go to my car imagining walking into a different car. I would go to my bank account imagining a different amount in there. I would go to, paint live at a little jazz bar, and I would imagine being in a different place, because I had that constant reminder every day, that letter I wrote myself. And I need to tap back into that even now.
Yeah, we should do that tonight, you and I.
Yeah.
But you said imagining. I want people to stop doing that, because you were imagining and you were manifesting. Yeah. But there has to be grind behind that manifestation. And that's what people are sitting back and like, I have so many people that ask me to mentor them, and they have this, I want to do this, I want to do that. But I say nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yes,
right?
I would say I started with imagining, but I was converting that into action.
Of course.
So that's the pain method. Is you start with this passion, you can imagine, you start, it feels good.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't feel good to actually put action. But when you start converting that action, you start bringing it to life, and the discipline, the education, whatever it is that you need, it starts to become real with that action.
Tell me, for the fitness listeners, tell me what the paint method is.
Yeah. So the paint method is sort of how I looked back on my life retrospectively. It stands for passion, action, intent, new, and teach. And in that particular order is, when looking back on my life, how I ended up here. But also, there's times where we need to go back to the beginning as well, which I've experienced many times over, transforming, having to start over. And any goal that you have, it starts off with this passion. And as we go, in line with the letters, the action is what brings it to life. It's the work that you do. It's the education. Another important part is, even when you have success, you've put in the action, you're like, look at my life, it's amazing. Even then, the intent that you apply to it, the purpose, is what helps you get through those things that have nothing to do with that passion. For example, dealing with outside noise, doubters, or people that are just coming after you, whatever that is. A higher purpose, that intent, is a filter for you to, decide where I want to spend my time and my resources. Like, look, it helps you refocus. And then there's new situations that help you grow. There's it can be self-inflicted, by, say, putting yourself on your own fitness journey, or putting yourself through, an education program that you're in a successful point, or you have momentum, but you still need to grow throughout this. And the last part is really to teach and to lead, to impart the knowledge from your journey and teach that somehow to others. And the beauty is, I experienced this in 2020. I had to go back to P. I had to start all over again. I went from 100 shows a year to 0.
Yeah.
And I had to transform, which leads me to my next question for you. You are a transformer.
I'm pushing peas all day. All I hear is that pushing peas song.
Pushing peas.
Because I've restarted so many different times.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what my strength is just, rebuilding. And that's what's made me where I'm at now. I feel like, don't be embarrassed by restarting over and over and over.
And what would you tell people where they sort of, maybe they feel in a cycle in their life.
Yeah.
And they need to break away. What is that thing that you would tell that person? And even the person who is driving right now, they feel like they're on the grind. They're like,
Mhm.
I have to do this every single day over and over again. And there
By the way,
isn't,
today's Groundhog Day.
it is Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
I heard it's going to be more winter.
Oh gosh.
I know.
Are
Get
you
that
are you
coat
fucking
ready.
with me? Really?
No, I'm serious. I saw it on Twitter. I don't know
Oh,
how
okay.
accurate it is, but
But Groundhog Day, you said sometimes people have to do things over and over.
I see what you did
You
there.
see what I did there?
I was
Come
like,
on
what is
now.
this random fact that she's throwing at me? But this is what she does.
I am kind of random, but
we bring it all the way back. We're gonna find out right now if it's more days of winter, but it's Groundhog Day. You're going over and over again.
Mhm.
This person's driving. What would you tell a person what they can do with their mindset to break free of that repeated cycle that they're just not happy in?
it goes back to that driving in the car. You kind of have to like stop looking to the sides. You have to be all in, or that's it. You just, if you're not committed, it's you're gonna get not committed results.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset that I've always had, and I feel like the only way I can succeed is that with that mindset. And so when I did the bodybuilding, if everyone thought I was crazy that I was doing it at the time, again, it was new, so I can understand why people thought it was crazy. But it only took me to win that people were like super supportive. And so if you stay looking forward and you don't get distracted by the outside noise, the people who love you will eventually understand. You just have to be fully committed. There's no like, I hate to say this, but you can't baby step everything. You can't.
Yeah.
You have to just be all in.
Hope y'all heard that. It's all in.
Yeah.
You literally you have to go all in, and you are all in as a parent too.
Yes.
There's a lot of people out there that are trying to pursue a dream, start over, transform, and they're parents. There's responsibilities. You and I, we're doing it on our own.
Mhm.
You more so. You're doing everything on your own.
Mhm.
And what is that like, trying to balance these really big dreams that you have,
Mhm.
but this love and responsibility for this beautiful human that you're raising?
Yeah. I have my moments where I want to scream into a pillow. Literally. Like it's hard to explain.
That's it. We're gonna stop the podcast right there. That's it. Have a great day, folks.
Honestly, I know a lot of single parents can understand this, or just any parent. It's hard to raise a child by yourself, yet alone with a partner too. It's never easy. But when you are doing everything from, you don't have the help. It's a mindset again. I have to stay focused as far as like daughter's number one priority, right? Keeping her alive and fed.
Basics.
Basic stuff.
Yeah.
And the second thing is providing, right? And so I created jobs around her. And so I don't think like I have to do and again, maybe it's because of the way I grew up. My family is like, you could do anything,
Yeah.
right?
And
You're
they
Puerto
did.
Rican,
Yeah.
Right?
Is that what they say?
Yeah, you Puerto Rican.
All
You
right.
Puerto
I like
Puerto
that.
Ricans. Well, it can be any line thing. You Mexican, yeah, Dominican.
All right. I'm half
You got that.
Mexican.
Yeah, you can't do anything. I went into the mindset thinking I don't have to do a corporate job. So I created jobs, no joke, around my daughter's schedule. And I have more than one job. And it's something that sucks sometimes, but sometimes it's a benefit because I could be working on my phone, literally in the car while I wait and pick her up from school at practice. And that's the life that I chose, right?
Yeah.
Is it easy? Hell no. It's not easy at all. But I am in control of that. And I teach my daughter that. We are teaching our kids by our actions, not by what we say. And that's something I had to learn through watching my parents raise me and my siblings, and realizing the life that I wanted, and I wanted to either emulate or create. And I was like, okay, this I don't want to do that they did. This I do want to do. Can I do that? People are going to think I'm crazy. Am I going to get supported? And it was always no, right? But I just felt convicted, and I knew that if I believed in me, that was all I needed. And
yeah, to create means to cause something into being.
yes,
It's not just thinking of it. It's not just imagining.
yes,
Actually taking action and causing it. And you've created a life that, yes, is challenging, but the number one goal was to be there for your daughter, which you
Yes.
are. And everything, revolves around that. And it's almost like your biggest purpose and intent,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's a filter for where do I work? Where do I spend my time? How do I move around? And so on, because that's the number one goal.
Yeah. And how do I want her to see me?
Yeah.
It's like, you know how there's the saying that says, be the person your dog thinks you are?
What? This is a saying?
Yes, it
Is
is.
this like a
Maybe it's
t-shirt you
because
saw on Instagram?
probably. I mean, I do follow a lot of dog accounts,
Yeah.
but it's so important because people are always following the norm.
Wait, I
He's
can't keep a straight face. Say that quote again.
be the person that your dog thinks you are.
I just
So
want
you
to
know
get
how-
that sound
you know
bite right there.
why?
That's all.
Be the person your dog thinks
That's
you
going to
are.
be the title to the podcast.
Because it's so true. Your dog, you go home and your dog thinks you're a superhero.
Yeah.
They're so happy to see you. And dogs are happy to sometimes people who are assholes and they don't deserve dogs. So for me, I try to be that person and then some.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some lucky dogs, by the way.
We do have some.
What I meant to say was, yes, you're a parent to your daughter, but you're a parent to these 3 lucky fur animals.
Yes.
I mean, are you just kind of like dealing with life so that you can just get back to them? Are we just like a part of
I mean,
the distractions to get back to the dogs?
I have really big goals to do with animals after my daughter goes to college or whatever she decides to do, I support. But I love animals, and to have a dog farm would be amazing.
So I'll share a moment. This is a intimate moment with us, but we're just laying in bed before we go to bed. We're just talking about the next day. I just glance over. She's on her phone, and her Instagram algorithm is animals, and she's just sitting there giggling, and you're just like scrolling through. Your algorithm
Yeah.
online and in life is all about animals.
I mean, yeah,
It's adorable.
it's everything in life.
Yeah.
Dog spelled backwards is God.
This is
So
true.
they're the closest thing to angels.
This is true. We're already convinced. We know you love dogs.
Yes, I love dogs.
So-
Back to my daughter.
Yeah.
She's like, Mom, I can't believe you replaced me with dogs. No, honestly, my daughter is the reason why I make decisions in life. It's my reason. She's my why. And I do want to show her how powerful she can be and how much in control she can be if she does, like, take the wheel and not just get distracted from everything from classes to her friend choices to, the sports that she plays in with school. It's hard raising a child, a little person who just kind of, it's
She's in it. You're in it right now.
Yeah, I'm in war zone right now.
I say a prayer for you every day. I'm like, God, protect her and her daughter, because
She's a good girl. She definitely
is.
is. She's beautiful and she's very smart.
Yes.
And I know
And
that
she's funny.
she's so funny.
She's hilarious.
Yeah, we won't tell her that though.
Nah.
She won't hear this podcast.
We're gonna cut that out.
Yeah. She's funny, and I know that I saw my mom and I kind of idolized my parents, and as I got older, not that I don't idolize them anymore, I just knew that they used and they did things with the tools that they had and what they could have done. They did the best they could have. And there's things that I know now, especially with growing up with amazing siblings who try to teach me through their mistakes, and just me going through my own mistakes like several times. I had to make changes.
Yeah.
And if I continue to go through that pattern or I stay in situations, it's my fault. No one else's.
What's one of the biggest things that you've learned from your mom that you apply to life now?
I hate to say this, but never rely on a man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah. To just always have your own. And, my mom, she's such a caregiver. She took care of all of us. Gosh, I had the best pleats for my cheer uniform. People thought I took it to dry cleaners. My mom did everything from cleaning to, but she was in a lot of controlling situations where she was really adamant raising her daughters to always have your own money, just have your own thing, not revolve your life around a man. And it's crazy the things that she would say. She would say, "Men, they treat women like like cars. They kind of always want to upgrade every 10 years or every 7 years." And she's just like, "No offense, they will always love you cuz you're that one car that they like, but they always want to, and I grew up kind of fucked up thinking
Yeah.
that. And it's sad that you kind of grew up with a mom who's always, she had a lot of heartbreak in her life, and but she also wanted us to have thicker skin, and she knew she was raising strong women who, wasn't going to sit around and just be a wife. And
Yeah.
that was something that I am grateful for. And she taught me to be a great mom too, as well.
Yeah, and
Um,
I mean, you definitely apply that lesson from your mom, and more so, like, you work so hard
thank
to
you.
provide for yourself and your daughter, and for us and our family,
Hmm.
and I don't think people really understand that, how much you really applied that to your life.
You know what? I have this thought, like sometimes people think I have it easy because they
Mhm.
see me in a relationship with you or in the past relationships. And I would say this is the first relationship that I've actually taken more financial, you know,
Your own,
dependence.
yeah.
Yeah, where I don't rely on you. You help me, obviously. You buy us dinner and stuff. But like I
I buy a lot of food
yes, he
for us.
does. But no, he not that you wouldn't. It's just
Yeah.
I'm really, I want to provide for myself, and I want to be able to show my daughter that I can hold a job and more than one job and still be a mom, and that there's no holds barred. Like it's just I can do it all. It's
So,
hard though.
yeah. So what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned from your dad?
Hmm. Why would you do that? Because then I don't want to get emotional.
That's okay, we get emotional. We're always emotional.
um, my dad. My dad passed away, guys. So in case you're wondering, um,
You can take your
I would say my dad would say money talks and bullshit walks.
time. I love it. I
Oh
love it.
man.
I
And
love it.
what he means by that is that you're going to meet people in life that they chase money all the time. And they are never going to put character in front of that. They're going to put just money, and you have to be careful who you do business with. You have to be careful who your friends are. You have to be careful with just anything when it revolves around money. And that's the world revolves around money, right? And we are in positions in life where we're both regrowing our careers, and we have platforms, and unfortunately, we are in situations where I would say I'm very protective of the people who are around us. And I just always hear my dad saying that in my head whenever I make decisions with people, coming to who we do dinner with. And it almost like it feels like the more we are together, it reveals a lot of people in my life and people around us. And it's just it's crazy because we are in a relationship, and our relationship works so well because we do have different platforms that, at the time I'm the best in the fitness industry. At the time I'm not the best in the fitness industry now, and I don't think I ever was. I just had great titles.
Yes, you were.
But thank you, babe. But you in the art world, right? And so we have these big platforms, and I feel like from us being divorced to us having kids and dealing with like past stuff, or we can relate a lot, right?
Yeah.
But it also comes with a lot when we're in a relationship together, right? Because we hear outside noise from everything from the beginning of our
There's
relationship.
a lot of bullshit.
It's a lot of
Let's just
bullshit.
say it. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of bullshit that just comes from the outside. And I'm sorry to cut you off like that, but it's almost like through all that, we still want to help people.
Yeah.
Like, we still want to help people go from A to Z, and every letter in between.
Yeah, I
do it
mean, we have a
all.
lot of talks where we're like trying to go back into situations where we're trying to think like, okay, obviously we want certain people in our lives or we want to like connect with certain people, but we are very protective because we have to realize like and think what are people's intentions, right? And that's like so hard for us because we both wear our heart on our sleeves. And unfortunately, my inner gangster has to come out and outer gangster.
It's always out. It's always out.
But I get very protective of our relationship because sometimes I see things a little bit more. And so I always think of my dad whenever he says that because maybe it's because this is the first, well, last year was the first year that I was like, I made a financial goal. I never had a financial goal to like be a girl boss, right? And this is like my second year going into this where I'm building a business with Money, which is a hair, skin, and beauty, hair, skin, and wellness line that I sell and represent. And I have built a team around that. And all I could think of was my dad just telling me, just this is where you're really going to learn what you're capable of. It wasn't like bodybuilding. Bodybuilding was like just gave me the people to kind of the platform, right? And I guess to see my capabilities.
Yeah, to see, to push yourself to physical, mental,
Yeah.
and spiritual limits.
Yes. And I feel like my titles were because I was the prettiest. It was my titles of like, okay, here's your reward for getting through that first level of life. Here's your second through dealing because I hate wearing bikinis. I hate like
Me too.
I like one pieces.
Me too.
But I feel like these last 2 years have been revealing a lot where I get to see a lot of, you know, what I'm capable of. And I was never given that chance because people always saw me as a fitness model, right? And they just never saw me as someone who can actually have my own business and not need a man in my life, which I want you in my life,
Of
not because I
course.
need you,
Yes. And I
right?
love that. Your parents combined instilled a very strong spirit of discernment,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on display every day. And I think that your life is a result of listening to that gut feeling.
Yeah.
You think about past experiences, you apply it to the moment, and then, like no one else I've ever seen before, you make a decision, say, I'm drawing the line.
Yeah.
I'm creating a boundary,
Mm-hmm.
and I will not let that thing affect my life, and I'm going to go this other way.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely always go back to the drawing board and I'm like, you see this, right? You see the triangle or you see like because I want to do things a certain way, but I also know to get in ahead of life, sometimes you have to let people go, you have to let jobs go, you have to it's just there's decisions you have to make in life when you go into this all in mindset, right? That you either going to be better for your be the best that you can be, right? By always getting out of your comfort zone every fucking day. It's never a day where you're just like, this is going to be fucking easy. Because every day, even now, like I have days where I'm like, it's leg day, or it's another day at the office, or it's another day being a mom to a teenager.
I was nervous today to do a podcast with you. I'm like, got the bulletproof vest on. All right. Take the knives away from Chatty. Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
we're joking about this, but
Yeah.
it's definitely like
Are
every
we?
day.
Are we? No, I'm kidding.
I'm like, he's joking. I have just you kind of have to think in every day of your life you don't have a choice with that number one goal that you have. You can't think like, oh, it didn't work out. There's certain things in life obviously that you can't do and you just will never be good at, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a
Finding the
basketball player,
balance.
if you're like only 5 foot, you're never going to be.
Even then, though, there's, it's not, it's less of a chance, but it's not,
It's
it
not
still just
unlikely.
requires a lot
Of
more
course,
work.
of course. But there's certain things that you can be at your full potential if you put your work into it. And I don't know, I'm very thankful for the life lessons that I've gone through, my parents, the people I continue to surround myself with, even the people that I don't surround myself that have taught me lessons that, oh, wow, I maybe need to realize like how I trust myself in certain situations because when I do get a good decision, maybe I should follow that instead of just being like, oh, I didn't see those fuchsia signs when they were like red, like
Yeah.
full on red flags.
Yeah. I could do this for hours with you. I mean, we do
I
this all
know.
day long. But you're one of my first in person guests on this new podcast project journey, and I wanted to sit down and talk to people who I feel and believe are very solid bricks to my foundation of
Mm.
this. Really, I feel like it's a new time in my life, and so get emotional.
Oh,
Say this.
we're both
You're crying. I'm
crying.
crying.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
that's so sweet.
but I just love and appreciate you, and just whether you know this or not, you inspire me every day by
Mm.
watching you. So, damn
Now we're
it.
both crying.
Ah. um,
Ah.
all right. So just to shake things up, to wrap it up, what are you looking forward to just with one of your many projects? But what's one main project you're looking forward to going into 2022?
Well, it's definitely my Monate, growing my business with Monate and the women I work with. Only because you guys know my fitness background. I love coaching women, but also too, there's only so much I can do with the time that I have, right? Because I'm a mom and I also am a girlfriend. I have so many other titles, and I just love doing group workouts. But with that, Money has given me a platform where it's not just selling beauty products. I can actually build a team with women where they can be mentored by me, but they can have an online business as a side hustle. And I get to kind of not only just mentor them to do a business, I get to mentor them with self development. And that's something I take pride in because I went through so many life lessons with either being controlled financially in relationships to not feeling like confident that I can have my own business to, and the startup is $200. It's like you get a website, you take care of your hair and skin and your gut health, and you can decide what you want to do with it. And so I created a um, club, I would per se. My team name is called All In Society,
Very
and
fitting.
very fitting. And we basically just talk every week on Zoom and have events. And that's something I want to grow because I'm teaching women to not only be confident in their beauty, but confident in their strength in building their own business and financial strength to have an extra source of income. And I would love to just continue to do that, where that can help me do free events, workout events all over the globe. And
Even here
eventually,
in the studio, we've
even
done
here in the
some.
studio, yeah, which I'm doing this weekend, but eventually create a fitness app and just reach a bigger audience.
Yeah, I still feel like you're literally just in the beginning.
Yeah, I
And
am.
now, like, really knowing you, like, yes, I know your past, but right now there's so much more ahead. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you, babe.
But thank you so much for doing this, the Paint Method podcast. You're one of my first guests.
Thanks for
And
inviting me.
I wouldn't, who else would I want to kick this off with? I mean, we laughed, cried.
I know.
No one got hurt. We're good.
Cussed a little.
Yeah, that's all right. Here's the thing. I did the first episode. I was like, we're drawing the line.
Yeah.
You're gonna get an unfiltered, more real version of me that I don't think that I could share in a 15-second clip.
No one gets to
online.
see a lot of you too, and that's something I should interview one day for your podcast.
We'll do a part 2. I'm down for that. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Love
love you.
you.